sex, life, and tech. If you're 21 or 101, we love them all. Welcome to Age Blind with Nancy AF.
Hey, boys and girls, welcome to another holiday edition of Age Blind, where the date on your birth certificate is totally meaningless. And the holiday season is something that brings us all together. And in honor of this episode, which is called Make Your Own Tinsel, I'm actually wearing my tinsel boa, which I bought at Fry's for $9.99 pre-discount as a member, and we'll be using throughout the holiday season for various content shoots. So these two women, Dawn Watson and Audrey Hope, are on my seasonal podcast today because they qualify as Age Blind All-Stars. And what that means is their episodes have brought in more viewers than other episodes. And I think in part it's because of our dazzling, blingy, effervescent personalities and attitudes about the world, the universe, and sex, life, and tech, which is what my podcast is all about across the generations. So I'm thrilled to have you both on as my guests. I will let you introduce yourself very briefly. Dawn, tell me and the audience who you are, what you do, and how we met.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Audrey. Hi, audience. Nice to see you again. Nancy and I've known one another for a few decades. Back when she was working all the time out in the Hamptons, that's where I am now. She was doing a version of what she does now, and I was doing kind of a version of what I'm doing now. Actually, I was writing about real estate at the time. I was a journalist, and I am now full-time a real estate agent here in the Hamptons, and loving every second of it. Just like I love spending time with Nancy.
The number one agent in the Hamptons for Sirhan of Sell It Like Sirhan, $1 Million Listing. I forget the name of his new show, but
Dawn Manhattan. It's premiering very soon. And awesome. Ryan is very excited.
So Dawn is proof positive that the Hamptons is not all bougie and blingy, and there are real down-to-earth people out there, which is, I think, one of the reasons why she has been so wildly successful in the real estate world, just because she's a real person. And Audrey, you and I met when I booked you on another podcast. We had no idea who each other were prior to that. So just tell our audience what it is that you do.
Well, first, I have to say you're making me miss the Hamptons. I'm a New Yorker. I haven't been home in ages. You are so lucky to be in the Hamptons. It is glorious. So, wow. I am soul healer, which means that I work in addiction, trauma healing, everything, but from the deep level of the soul. And that's like creating a new kind of healing. I say it's kind of like, you take a little blanket and you go up and then you look down. It's a higher level of looking at problems. And it is my wish to really help people as fast as possible.
That's great. I actually just had a guest on my podcast talking about avoiding drama over the holidays. And we talked about how the source of so much family drama over the holidays really relates back to the micro traumas that we may have experienced as kids, and how until you kind of understand those trigger points, you can't ever have like a calm Thanksgiving, because
you have to protect yourself from your family, and there are spiritual tools to do it. Sometimes you could turn your family members, use NLP into vegetables, but you have to protect yourself because sometimes the family are the ones that are the hardest. You have a phrase called psychic vampires. They want to steal your energy. So you got to look at the energy level of healing in order to survive your relatives.
And you kind of both answered my first question, which is, and that the topic is, how do you make your own tinsel? How do you become memorable? And you both have very powerful and memorable personal brands. How would you describe how you want to be viewed by people in the outside world? Audrey, why don't we start with you? Like if I were to meet you at a cocktail party as opposed to through a podcast booking agent, what would you want people to think when they walked away after meeting you?
That I was authentic and real, and I keep my New York energy with me. I am proud of it. I'm born in Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and you got to keep it real. And I would want people to know that my heart is in it and that there's no BS about it. I feel like I was chipped as a kid. I really wanted to do great things in the world and help people. So I guess I would want people to know that there's hope and my name is Hope. So that would be
Love
my
that.
greatest wish.
And what about you, Dawn? You're living and working in a sea of real estate agents and brokers. When people say you're trying to sell your house, you're trying to buy a house, you should call Dawn. What is that thing that they would probably say about you?
Well, I just got 2 new referrals today. Every single one of my clients comes from either someone I know or from a referral. So something's working right there. I think probably the thing I feel like people probably would say about me is just what you said. Like, I'm a real person. I am not schmoozy or unctuous. I'm not in it for myself. I actually, one of the first conversations I have with every potential client is, I take my fiduciary responsibility very seriously. Like, this is a one-way street where I am looking out only for your best interest, and that's just how it is, and that's how I work, and that is the most important thing to me. So integrity, honesty, kindness, care, and getting the absolute best outcomes for my clients. And that's what it's about. It's not about me. It's not about me getting off a jet or on some sailboat or all that kind of stuff. It's about, like, how can I use what I have to help you live a better life through real estate? As
Love
cheesy as that
that.
sounds, that's what I like to do. Makes me
Love
happy.
that. Yeah. I mean, as a podcaster, that's one of the reasons, frankly, I don't use a mic or even a ring light because, what you see is what you get. And
Yep.
on my Nancy AF website, one of the F stands for flawed. And why would anybody trust me if I don't, to use my phrase, I'm also a Queens girl, Audrey. I have to own my shit and I have to be vulnerable and I have to be real, which is very, very hard living in this social media dystopia. So, what are some daily habits that you invoke? And we'll start with you, Dawn, because I know there is a lot of pressure in the real estate industry to have a personal brand and to go on camera, if not every day, then a few times a week and say something. So, how do you come across as being a public persona without being a narcissistic asshole? Just
Well,
cutting to the chase here.
that's a good question. It's funny because I remember back when I was a journalist, I was like, do I have to have a byline? I don't really want to, have people drawn to my name and all that kind of stuff. And so this is, fast forward 20, 30 years later, it is strange because we know that people connect with faces on social media. So it's very important to show your face, but it's also like, yeah, I I get sick and tired, like, when I look at my feed, and of course, the things that perform the best are the ones where I'm actually talking just like this, but I don't wanna see my face all the time. Like, so I think that, so it's this weird kind of like, you have to do it, but, I'm not posting photos of me in a bikini, and if I did, that would not be, selling point.
Well, I actually do that because, I want people to know that women
Yeah,
over 65 are not all, dried up prunes who walk with walkers and canes. Like,
right.
I just spent a lot of time getting my body healthy. And so, yeah. And the other day I just saw a video of me where my thigh with all its glorious cellulite was like front and center. And I'm like, you know what? That is the real me. I'm just going to put it out there and maybe make somebody feel better about their own chubby thighs. Like,
Yeah, I think, honestly, like, I don't have a problem with the appearance, I just have a problem with the exploitation, I guess?
yeah, or the
So
glamming up or the pretending that
right.
you're living a
Yeah,
life that you're
yeah.
not living in reality. And Audrey, that's also a great question for you because especially living in LA, which is the land of celluloid heroes, to quote the Kinks, how do you keep it real when you're living in a world of that's surreal?
Well, I think it comes down to a core thing, the intention. Why are you doing anything, right?
Right.
And if you are speaking because your intention is you really want someone to give them help, If your intention is really pure and it's centered here, right? Then what's the problem? You can never look like a narcissistic asshole because it's real. And that's how you have to live, right? You have to speak from that place in your heart, like drop a tennis ball in, wait till it gets to the heart and speak and just live that way. Even if everybody else isn't living that way, right? Who cares? And the funny thing is, through law of attraction here and doing that, I work with people that are really high level in LA. So that's kind of wild through law of attraction to find people that are like you. So you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about it. If you are centered in that, you'll find your own. There's a vibration to it. And so it's really fascinating. No matter where you are, stay in your heart.
love that. Love that. And I think, that was kind of the answer to my next question, which is how do you sparkle over the holidays if you're, in a funk? Again, I talked with this therapist on my podcast about how the holidays can be a lonely time for people who don't have family nearby, who are scrolling on social media going, "Oh, all of my friends are in the Caribbean or they're dancing around with their family and their boo. And here I am sitting all alone under my Christmas tree wearing my tinsel boa." So what are some techniques that you use to fight the holiday blues?
Well, I was just thinking of something that I'm sorry, that my client was telling me about. Everybody looks so happy on social media. And that's a year-round thing, right? And when you work with people and you really get down and I have people that have just left my living room fighting, and then all of a sudden they look happy on social media. So you kind of have to know it's an illusion and it's not really real, but you can really be depressed about that. Even the holiday commercials,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like, oh, people are coming over and all these, and you're like, I'm not like that, but it really isn't real. Everyone has something.
Hallmark should have the depression channel. They do have a
Oh,
true crime channel, but they should just have like a series of things where like, and the reality is there have been TV shows over the years that showed things like they really, and I think the movement has really gone away from that. And so, just remind yourself, stay off of social media on the holidays if you know that's going to be a trigger. That's my advice, is just live in the real world. What
everybody
about you, Dawn?
has problems.
Yeah, do you have tips for keeping it real?
Well, I spent first 40 years of my life single during the holidays, right? Like, luckily the first 30 were before social media. Um, but I think that a lot of I can't imagine being alone on Christmas, which I've spent so many Christmases alone prior to, finally finding this wonderful life that I have. I'm so grateful for it. But, I wasn't looking at a phone, looking at everybody else being happy either. But I think the big thing is you have to do, no matter what day it is, you have to do what makes you happy. You have to say, this is another precious day of my life. And so it was just my birthday on Sunday. I had the
Right.
best birthday of all time and I didn't do anything. It was
Love that.
awesome. Right? I was just like, leading up to it, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a massage one day, and I'm gonna do this." And we went to see a show, but the actual day of, for the first time in my life, I told my husband this. This is such a great thing. Every other birthday until now, it was
Wow.
like I had Donna-palooza. It was the entire month from October 16th to November 16th. It was like, and I had to celebrate it. And if people didn't make a big fuss and they didn't tell me happy birthday or I didn't get cards or presents or something, I was really distraught. And there were people who forgot to wish me happy birthday in some years. And I'm like, you're on my list. Forget it. But now,
I love that. That's a tip for
yeah,
my listeners and my viewers. If you are going to be alone over the holidays, declare your own holiday.
yeah,
Donna Palooza, Nancy Palooza,
yeah,
Audrey
whatever it
Palooza.
is.
I always buy myself a gift and I put it under my tree. Is actually made out of tinsel. And that way I don't have to like get rid of a dead tree at the end of the holidays.
Right.
It just collapses down. And I put a
Right.
box that's my gift to myself under the tree and pretend to be surprised, even though I'm Jewish and I celebrate Hanukkah too. But like there's something about the whole act of treating myself
Yeah.
on the holiday. And I have a list of 100 things that bring me joy. and I just run through that list, whether it's watching a movie, reading a book, things that doing needlepoint, things that I could do without anybody else present. So we should all have our little, and I don't mean this sexually, although if that's your thing, I don't judge, your little like masturbatory joy that brings you tinsel over the holiday season, tinsel in life.
For
Nancy,
sure.
you bring up a great point about being alone, spiritually alone, right? That we got to change the perspective on that because feng shui, they always say like clear the space.
Yep.
So when you're in that empty space and when you're alone and it is Christmas, that is a great opportunity in that holy space to bring in new things. So you can use it as a sanctuary, as a temple, as a church, whatever and you can use it as a place to create and manifest because you need to do that when you start a new life or you're starting a new relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you give yourself a gift, it's the best thing. And I think that's like this year is the first year probably in my whole life where I didn't need any gifts because I already had everything. What a wonderful thing from a person who sat many a Christmas, many a Thanksgiving, many a birthday, feeling like sad and lonely. And now I don't know. I feel like when you get older, you get the tools to say, this is what's important to me and this is what I'm going to do. And I can give it to myself. And I think that that's probably the best gift.
Well, that said, the next
Yeah.
question, I will start by answering it first, is if Santa or Santa Claus or whoever is the gift giver in your spiritual life were to leave something in your stocking or under your tree or under the menorah, what would that be? And the two things that I'm jonesing for this year, but like you, Dawn, I'm all about, the gift of self-care. But if I were to ask for something physical this year, I am planning on gifting myself the next generation of Meta glasses so that I can do like the Harriet the Spy filming from wherever I am and capture moments without taking out my phone, because I like to leave my phone where it is just to avoid distractions. But my glasses are very cool. I have the first generation, and there's now like they're funky new glasses, and I would love to get a pair of those. And then the other one is kind of spiritual. I love burning candles, but there are no open flames allowed in my apartment complex. So my hairdresser has this thing that's a wax warmer that you just plug in and you can burn a candle without a flame. So who knew? And so that's on my Santa list this season. So what about you, Audrey? Other than like world peace and help and
That's what I
hope?
was going to say. That's what I was really going to say. I can't help it. What can I tell you? I really wish we were in the age of Aquarius. I really wish for karma.
Yeah.
Karma. I wish for really, I wish for karma to hit, divine karma, and that for the whole world to heal and really get out of this horrible cycle that we're in. That's what I wish.
All right, ladies, you just made me feel like a bougie capitalist pig that I
I'll
have.
also take one of those new bags at Bergdorf's, which are $5,000. That would be great. I'll take that. With
All right. Well,
world,
maybe karma, maybe you'll find one on eBay for $500 and then you could treat yourself. And Dawn, there's nothing in the physical world that you, or an experience for 2026 that you would love, tickets to a show, something that would just bring you joy?
Talk about bougie. I'm just going to lay it right out there. I want 2026 to be better than 2025 as it relates to the number of people I can help in my job. Like I am, I've plotted out already the goals and want to double what I did this year. So, I'm about self-care and spiritualism and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I want more
Abundance. We all want
abundance,
abundance.
more success, more help, more helping other people. I actually said recently at a family gathering, "Oh my God, my favorite thing on the entire planet is to work." And I thought people were going to kill me. But I
But you
really
were,
my
all of us,
favorite
but all three of us are in professions where we help others. And so I get it. And then
yeah.
if you happen to make money doing that, you can use that money to help even more people or to bring yourself more joy. Like my financial advisor is not happy with me this year because I rebranded in February, but I want more followers, but not like a million people, random fan people. I want people who genuinely like the content that I'm putting out there because it gives them hope, brings them joy, and makes them less fearful of aging because I'm going to be 70 in February. I am an Aquarian and my life does not suck. So do not fear getting old. It's really not a bad place to be. And I'm hoping for another 30. So if you're listening, you obviously found me already, but you can follow me on Instagram at nancyaf_. This podcast is on not only all the major audio channels, but also on YouTube. So if you'd like to see our faces, you can find us there. And then, Dawn, if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best way to find you?
Well, I have to say, number one, I'm 57.
Yay.
Okay. Loving it. Best year of my life. I think 58 is going to be better. Get in touch with me at Dawn at Serhant, S as in Sam, ERHANT as in Tom.com. And I'm happy to help. Like I said, I love working. It's not about the money, although money's great because we work for money, but it's about just the joy of helping. So thanks for
Yeah.
having me again. I love coming to your podcast.
And I love having you on my podcast. And Audrey, what about you? If people need Audrey Hope,
Say thank you to you guys. You have so much beautiful energy. It's ageless and timeless and so much joy, so your light grows more. You see, you turn up the volume on your light, which is what I'm really seeing at the Audrey Hope on Instagram and audreyhope.com.
well, thank you, ladies, for being among the Age Blind All Stars of 2025. I hope to see you again in 2026. I'm making a couple of major changes to my format. I've been experimenting with the 20-minute podcast, and so far it has been amazing because we are able to dispense so much information in a short period of time. So thank you for being pithy and for being you. And happy holidays, everybody. And remember to be age blind. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye. Thank you.